Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, thank you for this opportunity to bring my story to you. To give you some span of my experience, in 1980, I voted for Ronald Reagan in hopes that he would get our hostages out of Iran. The next time I could vote, Barack Obama was in his second term. Big, huge gap. I want to start by telling you that this bill doesn't cast any blame or point any fingers at any branch or entity of government. It is, however, an admission that government isn't flawless, and sometimes it creates great harm to its citizens. This bill is a reasonable compensation for the harm caused by a flaw in our government. My wrongful conviction started one night when this fella went into a bar in South Louisville where he ended up abducting a young lady, took her to a local park where he raped her, robbed her, and sodomized her. The victim noticed the guy staring at her all night. She was able to put together this composite drawing, very accurate for this guy. The crime occurred on Friday night. Saturday night, this composite was circulated. Sunday night, this is me. I walked into the very same bar without a clue what was going on. But that resulted in a conviction and a sentence of 30 years. Right away, I started trying to prove my innocence. After a couple years of incarceration, I was able to get up to the Louisville Police Department, take a polygraph test, and my case was reopened again after 2 years. That reinvestigation never yielded anything of legal value, but after 11 years in my fourth meeting with the parole board gave me the benefit of the doubt and said, we're going to give you the benefit of the doubt, but don't go out there and make a mistake. We won't be as nice to you when you come back. I get out right away. I encounter the application process and the box. Check that box if you've been convicted of a felony. I knew I had to devise some kind of strategy around that box. Avoiding the box was it. But I felt some conviction in that, and I posed the question to my parole officer. Do I have to tell my employers that I am a convicted felon? He responded very angrily, and this was before the sex offense registry. Very angrily, he said, if you don't tell them that you're a convicted sex offender, I'm coming down there and tell them myself. That started when I put in an application and would hand it to someone, and they would say, yes, can you start tomorrow? I would say, yes, but now I have to tell you, I am a convicted sex offender. One of the most difficult things you could imagine, to hand an application to some lady that you've never seen before, and she hire you, and then you got to tell her that information. Pretty difficult. The last application I put in using that strategy was a career decision. As a plumber, I saw plumber helpers in the newspaper, and I went and applied. I went through that process, got to where he hired me, and then told him that I was a convicted sex offender. He told me to be at this job site the next morning, where I was given a pick and a shovel and pointed at the hardest earth in Kentucky and said, we need a pipe to go from here to there, move that earth. For days, if not weeks, I picked and chiseled at that earth, trying to make that pipe able to go through there. They finally moved me over to another job, and began to realize I was an asset for them. I found out later that from the office where the message was, work him so hard he quits. I didn't quit. I finally worked my way into an apprenticeship program and became successful as a plumber. 16 years elapsed. I pick up the newspaper one day and there's an article about the Kentucky Innocence Project, and I'm wondering, where did they come from and when did they start? I called them right away. They took my case and uncovered this textbook example of mistaken identity. This bill is only compensating a wrong. Many of you have already reviewed this situation and have already become co-sponsors to this bill. This is not a bill that should have any opposition. And if you disagree with that, I ask you to go back to your districts and ask any member of your district if they were jailed for 1 day wrongfully, should they be compensated? And then I ask you all to take those responses, come back, fully support this bill, sign on as a co-sponsor, and let's get it passed. Thank you.